The ACLU, once famed as a stalwart defender of individual liberties, now appears to be shrinking into the morass of collectivism for cash. Welcome to Liberty Nation's LNTV. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. To discuss the fall of this formerly great institution is Liberty Nation's legal affairs editor, Mr. Scott DiCosenza. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Mark.
Now, Scott, there was one case recently that the ACLU weighed in on regarding Smith University. Care to give us some background on this?
Yes, well, it's Smith College, and the case involves a black student who complained that she was being treated by racist officials because they instructed her not to be in a dorm where she was not authorized to be. As it turns out, the person who even reported her didn't even know the color of her skin, wasn't aware that
kind of stuff like this happens way
this
too
had anything
often.
to do. It just wasn't race-based at all. It was simply a restricted area, and students weren't invited to be in that area. And of course, it got blown up into this whole woke thing. It is a decidedly leftist, one of the most leftist kind of progressive woke colleges a person can attend in the United States. It's right up there with a Berkeley, for instance. And the result of it was an instant, Mark, condemnation of the Smith College employees as if they were, in fact, horrible racists, and up to and including led to one of their dismissals, and another resigned because of the pressure put upon her.
And this did catch a little attention in the media, not so much for its unfairness in the persecution of the Smith College staff here, but for the plight of the young girl who was told to leave an area.
Well, that's the sort of the flipping the switch is the ACLU, without investigation, automatically branded these Smith College employees as racists who unconstitutionally discriminated against the student. And in fact, the exact opposite was true. It's all about them joining the sort of race wokeness, where that's now the focus, it seems to be, of their existence and efforts, rather than fighting for individual rights. You know, in your lead-in, you talked about them being famous for that, and I can remember when I was in law school in the 90s, those of us who were sort of pro-liberty, the dig against the ACLU was so that they were totally deficient on gun rights and would never support the full measure of people's rights guaranteed by the Constitution, because they had taken a pass on gun rights. But for the other rights in the Bill of Rights, they were pretty good and stalwart defenders, and especially and including free speech.
This is actually what I want to come on to my next question, Scott. So this swing away from defending individual liberty, which the ACLU was basically set up for, to a focus on racial justice, which, I don't know, it's a term that seems so poorly defined to me that I'm surprised that you as a lawyer can even utter the words.
Well, by the way, so it's funny because actually, in speaking of the words, you can't have collective liberty. According to some people, there can be collective notions of justice. I disagree with that and think that it's the antithesis of justice, but we know what they mean. It's spoils based, right? So if you are of the correct skin color, or gender or status, then you get a pass for a lot of things. And if you're not, then you get the hammer.
So what presaged this swing from individualism to collectivism within the ACLU?
Well, I think it's a combination of the river of money that the ACLU was able to garner in response to their many waves of litigation against various Trump administration measures. A lot of the immigrant stuff they made great hay with, and were able to really fundraise to a degree that they had never seen before. They made out like bandits. And I think it's a combination of that, also a genuine belief probably of most of the people affiliated with the organization that, you know, they're with the orange man bad crowd. They probably are not, sympathetic generally to Republicans or conservatives. And the third is just that it's so easy to do, and you get all the good things, you know, for doing so, right? It's not like Twitter bans you for racial
for being
discrimination
overly
you're
woke.
advocating.
Yeah.
Right. Open. Yeah, of course. No, you get plaudits and
Get a
and
blue
lauded.
check mark. Yeah.
Right.
Those blue check marks, by the way, only available to the truly woke or anybody that Eric Swalwell intends to put up for evidence. So, Scott, as you say, it's probably all about the dollar bills here, but ACLU is not a for-profit organization. That's right. Yeah.
Well, just, there's a saying in the nonprofit world, Mark, and I don't know that this is said in the ACLU offices, but that nonprofit status is an election in the tax code and not an operating philosophy. So perhaps they're going on that model.
All right. Scott, thank you very much for joining us on this.
Thank you, Mark.
And that's it for this edition of Liberty Nation TV. Remember to hit Liberty Nation News for original articles, the Uprising podcast and the Rabbit Hole podcast, and our signature television program, The Conservative 5. Just go to libertynation.com on your browser, or hit Rumble, YouTube, or check out our Liberty Nation News Roku channel. I'm Mark Angelides. Thanks for watching. This program is a production of libertynation.com. Conservative news, where truth matters.
Go deeper on the topic discussed in this video. Head on over to one of these links here or go to our Liberty Nation Roku channel. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for Liberty.